Now let's talk about the Streamlit's execution model. So how basically the data flows. So we talked about briefly how Streamlits works. Okay, let's say whenever we do any kind of uh, interaction with the application, what happens is it reruns the entire code from top to bottom. So Streamlit application rerun the entire Python script from top to bottom whenever a user interacts with the interface. This includes actions like clicking on a user interface element like widget, changing the value of an input field. So this we have seen, right? So if a user clicks anything or if user is giving any input in the text box, what will happen? It triggers to rerun the entire page from top to bottom. All right. So but this behavior can actually uh, create some inefficiencies. Like let's say this is an example. We can see that we are actually calling one of these functions which is invoking one some API. Okay, it's invoking some API and we are getting the response, and that response is returned back. Now let's say after this piece of code, if we have a button like click me or something, whenever user is clicking that button, what will happen is we are invoking this API again and again and again and again. So whenever there is any action, any interaction with the screen, with the user interface, this API will be called again and again. So this is a problem because this is an API. This may incur some cost, or at least it will consume some resources. So making unnecessary API calls repeatedly, re-executing computationally intensive operations, right? So since we are using these for the LLM applications, maybe if we are invoking our model, that will happen again and again. So that's a problem. So, in order to deal with this problem, the Streamlit has two concepts which we will discuss in the next two lessons, next two videos. The first important thing is Streamlit session state, and the second is our cache. Okay, so these two are the concepts which will help us to overcome these problems. Okay, so I just wanted to give you some brief, the problem statement, and we will be using the Streamlit session state to persist the data across the interactions whenever, I mean, in fact, we have done this in the past, right? So we will create some variables and we will save the values which we want to be persisted in that particular variable, and that variable will be saved into our session state. Similarly, we will also talk about how caching can help us to reduce or to reduce these inefficiencies. All right.